I think the most upsetting thing is as has gone on, and the complete repetition with me being responsible for Trump, therefore for the Supreme Court, therefore for Roe v. Wade. It just keeps getting compounded, and that's frustrating because first of all, it's absurd because if I mean for so many reasons it's ridiculous. I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't tell people to vote for Trump. I mean if you actually ever watch clips or look at what I've said and what I haven't said, and being in New York, which is a obviously blue
Yeah.
state. But what really is disturbing for me is the fact that using me to be the scapegoat, the conversation means that you're not addressing to things that actually happened, because 2016 people really wanted help. They wanted to be heard. They wanted help with their lives. They were not in good shape. The working class, even the middle class, and the environment. And to make it about me just obscures the fact that the Democrats didn't offer anything real except fear of Trump and a woman. But in terms of policy, this is why unions are leaving the Democratic Party. This is why working class people didn't want someone from the establishment, because they had been screwed so often and nobody heard that. And even after some of the things I said, we're trying to tell them after Bernie was knocked out, and you can read Donna Brazil's book, The Corroboration of What They Did to Bernie. People that worked for Bernie's campaign said, this is what you need to address: a $15 minimum wage, some kind of health care, a number of things. And they said basically, fuck you. They just weren't interested. And so some of what I said was saying, there are people who will not go for what you're not offering. They're not going to buy into that, but they didn't want to hear it. And now we're back into a similar state where promises were made where, okay, this, mansion single-handedly and cinema have held up everything. And whatever could have been done to not let this bill get so watered down, to not let them separate them, when you can't even get eyeglasses and hearing aids, and you're not doing anything about codifying RV Wade. All along, there have been things that haven't been done. And I don't know, they just think everyone's really stupid, but you can't promise things and not make any effort. You can't blame it on the parliamentarian. You can't, So now we're in another situation where the midterms are going to come up, and they're already starting to say, well, we might have some trouble in the midterm, because they know that people are not going to go stand in line for 7 hours after getting nothing. And even especially when specific things were promised, smaller
Right, the
checks,
checks.
fewer people, just the simplest things, and people are not going to fight to go out there. They're just not. They might hopefully go locally and try to get their school boards, try to get their representatives. But I think confidence in any kind of electoral process is really low. And so that's what bothers me most, is that in pretending that it's Russia, which was so successful, pretending that it's me or Bernie, who worked his ass off to get her in.
Worked harder than she did herself.
Absolutely. And to not deal with that and to just keep this mill of misinformation and scapegoating going on means you are not dealing with what has to happen and with the truth of where this country is. The biggest gift I got in working for Bernie was being able to travel all over and talk to people, but mostly listen to people, listen to teachers, listen to nurses, listen to mothers that had lost their kids to opiates, listening to the homeless, going all over and seeing how great this country is and how ready people are to help each other. And then this top is just not working. It's just not paying attention. And meanwhile, getting fatter and fatter and fatter. And starting with the bailout of Wall Street, people understand that they're not getting the help they need, and but it is going somewhere. And during this pandemic, just the whole veil was removed where you could see people with money were comfortable. They could go somewhere. They had health care. They could get tested. And it's so I mean, I don't know what else, can be done, but certainly that's what's terrible is when you read these comments that have been the same comments for all these years and based, I mean, just so dumb, just so simplistic and most of the time not true. If you but people need team blue and team red and they're going to keep agitating as much as possible to keep us from understanding really where the problems are. And working class people are getting screwed. People are doing everything they can to live the right kind of life and to take care of their kids. And you've got this incredible student debt that just from the very beginning you can't start your life, and I understand that I'm privileged. I understand that my kids are privileged and I'm very grateful. But that doesn't mean that I can't feel bad and identify also with other mothers that are trying to just keep their heads above water and especially during this, with the added dimension of the of COVID and not having health care. I mean, people just going under, even if you have a policy that you can't use. And meanwhile, everyone's getting rich. That's just people not understand that, and they should be angry and upset. Absolutely. So I that's what scares me is that I'm being used to deflect from real information that would maybe get them to do some real work that would help people.